All right, so we are going to begin. So, like I said earlier, my name is Juan Jimenez. I'm here with my colleague Julian Olmos Morgan, and we are here to present to you a wealth of information when it comes to the prevention of substance abuse in teens. Um, a little bit about us. We work under the YOR Your program, which is the Youth Opiate Response, the first of its program in the state to bring about the information of opiates. In this case, we're bringing about the information on the prevention and a vast wealth of information of how parents can create stronger relationships with their kids and find out, give them a quick exposure what's going on in the field of coping skills and also a lot of social media information that wouldn't be otherwise presented. So, without further ado, let's begin. This is going to be our agenda. We're going to touch base on parenting relationships, self medication, some after school activities with the coping skills, and our services that we provide at Phoenix House. We are located here in Lakeview Terrace. Um, we have various programs for the youth. We have a substance abuse 1.0 and 2.1 programs, outpatient programs for group supports for the youth. We also have medically assisted treatment programs available at our facility also through the Your program. So let's begin. Go ahead, Julian.
Hi, this is Morgan. I'm actually going to be touching on this piece. So just to talk a little bit about relationships between parents and teens, I think it's really important. Obviously, we all know like when our kids are growing up, we spend a lot of time with them, teaching them, engaging with them, playing with them. But then as our kids continue to get older, the communication can diminish a little bit, either because of, just changes within our child or, not having similar interests or things to kind of bond with them on. So these are just some helpful tips on how to engage in that regular communication. So it is really important to continue communicating with your teen, focusing on them when you're having those interactions. So either putting your phone to the side or turning it off or on silent, and trying to have them do the same as well. Making that time, even if it's just 10, 15 minutes, I think it can feel overwhelming sometimes for parents to try to schedule one-on-one time, especially if you have multiple children. But even just reaching out to your kid for a few minutes every day, just checking in with them, seeing how things are going, watching a TV show together. It doesn't have to be complicated. It can be really, really simple things. If your child is expressing emotions, especially, given everything that's going on currently, there's a lot of different emotions that are probably coming out for the kids. And so if they are expressing their emotions to you, make sure that you're encouraging them. Try to be aware and not dismissive of whatever they're sharing, because it is really important to encourage that emotional expression so that they don't learn to bottle it in instead. So we really want them to express those emotions, especially to you guys as parents, because that's super important. You want to know kind of where your kid is at, and you want to be that safe person that they feel comfortable going to, regardless of what their emotion might be. And then last thing that I'll touch on is just focusing on the positive. I think it can be really easy, obviously, to focus on things we don't want our kids doing or saying, because those behaviors stick out to us, right? So I think instead focusing on the positive is really, really good, because it shows our kid that if we're doing positive things, then we're going to get attention and we're going to feel good about it. And that's going to encourage that behavior to continue, rather than if they're only really getting that attention or reaction from you, if they're engaging in, negative behaviors or not so positive or healthy behaviors, then they might learn to kind of continue those ones because that's how they're getting a reaction or some sort of response. So we really want to reinforce those positive behaviors just by commenting on them, praising them, and encouraging them to continue. All right, Juan, you can move on to the next one.
Hey guys, this is Julian, and I'm going to be talking about a little bit about self-medication, what it means, and some of the dangers of self-medication. So self-medicating is just a term that many people use to describe their use of substances as a way of coping with difficult emotional or mental states. So self-medication is just a different kind. It's a negative coping skill. It's not uncommon for those experiencing symptoms of mental health disorders to report that they initially tried to deal with their anxiety, mood disorder, or psychosis by self-medicating with drugs or alcohol. That typically happens because most people will reach out first to like their friends and family or like what they see on TV and things like that. So the first few things that you see on TV is like, oh, what does the dad on TV do after work? Oh, they drink a beer, they to unwind after a long day. So a lot of people notice that like on a subconscious level, and then when they look for comfort, they start doing those little things that they noticed, and that's where some self-medication comes from. The problems or the dangers with self-medication is that it can lead to what's called the rebound effect. So because we're not experts and we're not in the medical field, or parents aren't in the medical field, or the child isn't in whatever field, they're not experts in their own mental health, right? They're children. So most of the time that'll they won't be able to self-diagnose themselves. And what will happen is that if they lack therapy or they lack support or they lack any other kind of coping skills, then that'll actually intensify the problem that they're dealing with, and it can lead to a lot of complications. Most substance use will actually feel like great, you know. Most substance use will actually cause a temporary feeling of relief, but ultimately, because of the rebound effect, it'll lead to more and more severe consequences. And if if the relationship between the adolescent and the parent isn't it doesn't like harbor a lot of communication in it already, then that could lead to a delay of treatment, which is why we want to make sure that all of the parents that at least come to the Phoenix House, we're always telling them like, well, talk to your kids, start a dialogue, try to talk to them. And initially it is very difficult because it's like, well, the teens will come from places like, you don't understand me, you don't know where I'm going through. um and a lot of the time the response from the parents is uh something along those same lines, like, no, you don't understand me, no, you're not listening, no, you're not, you know, and it goes back and forth a lot of the time. But really I always feel like it should be more of something along the lines of like, you don't understand me, well, you're right, I don't understand you, so help me understand you. A lot of the time it's just really about opening up a dialogue, about opening up those lines of communication, and not really like trying to attack with questions or try to have them see things your way, because really like they're individuals, they're becoming more individualized, and as they become more and more individualized, then their their ideas will change from yours, and their feelings will change from yours, and that's just a regular part of growing up as an adolescent. Juan, can you go to the next slide, please?
Just to big piggyback on what you were talking about, I think one of the
Mm-hmm.
things that we learned working with residential, right, Julian, was just the listening portion, right, before we
Mm-hmm.
gave any feedback.
Yeah, it was always you would always be surprised at how many problems would be solved by, oh, well, tell me what happened. Oh, what's going on over here? So many problems can be solved by just like, tell me more about that, what's going on. A lot of the time, um, the kids that we talked to felt like they didn't have anyone that they could confide in, or they felt like they didn't have anyone that they could talk to. And they would either find that, oh, I don't have to talk to anyone, or it's so much easier to talk to people when I'm drunk or high, you know, and that's what they were looking for. So it wasn't actually that they were looking for the feeling of being in like an altered state of mind. It was more that they were looking for the ability to talk to people or the ability to communicate their feelings. Um, and that's what I always felt like. That's what I noticed the most um, from working with the teens, with adolescents. This is just a quick list of different coping skills. Um, so some of the coping skills that we would tell some of the kids to practice at the Phoenix House when we had a residential were mindfulness meditation techniques. So mindfulness meditation can be done anywhere. Some people prefer to sit in a quiet place and close their eyes. We had the kids do it at the towards the end of the day, or at the beginning of the day, or just whenever they were alone, right? So we would tell them to focus on your breathing, focus on your surroundings, and just try to be mindful. Um, so for us, we could do this while we're commuting to work or while we're doing chores or something like that. And the goal of mindfulness meditation is that you just observe your thoughts and your emotions and you let them pass through you without judgment. So like all things will pass, right? So that's the idea between mindfulness meditation, is that when you're feeling like, oh, I did such a terrible job today, I can't believe that, you know, well, it's always helpful to know, you know what, that feeling is going to pass right through you, just like all things pass. Or like, oh, I can't believe that I lost my wallet, or I can't believe that I lost this or that. And it's really like these feelings of disappointment, or feelings that we tend to like, that we're beating ourselves up because we didn't do this or that. um it We should try to be our own best friend, and we should try to like approach our own situations like with compassion. We need to treat ourselves with compassion first. And if we're not compassionate towards ourselves, how are we going to be compassionate to those around us? And so mindfulness meditation, I feel like, is a lot of it is just the idea of like, I'm not doing great right now, and that's okay. I can do better later. This is going to be fine. I just need to calm down. I just need to center myself. So that's what the idea behind mindful meditation is. Um, so there's just a quick tip for everyone out there. There's actually a meditation app called Headspace, and it's in the Apple Store or Google Marketplace and all that stuff. It's free to LA residents. You there might be some kind of subscription, but it should be free, as long as the stay-at-home order is out. So just if you have a few minutes, look into that. Also keep in mind that mindfulness meditation could also just be like deep breathing or any of those like sort of calming techniques. And yeah. So the next coping skill that I wanted to talk about, it's kind of broad, was actually one. Could you go one back? It's exercise. So even though generally exercise is really, really broad, people who exercise regularly tend to do so because it gives them an enormous sense of well-being. So you feel more energetic throughout the day, you sleep better at night, and you even have a sharper memory. You feel more relaxed and positive about yourself and your life. It's also a powerful medicine for many common mental health challenges, and regular exercise can have a profoundly positive impact on depression, anxiety, ADHD, and even more. A lot of the time, there's a lot of energy that's stored in the teenager or in the adolescent, and that energy has to come out in some way. If there's not a way to express that energy in a healthy way, it could come out in a more negative way. So that's why even just running or even push-ups or even just like doing chores around the house, a lot of the time that those little outlets are extremely beneficial. Um, so yeah. So exercise, I just wanted a quick note. Exercise is not like a cure for depression, anxiety, or ADHD, but it does have a positive impact on depression and anxiety and ADHD.
And
And
just
then,
to go,
yeah.
just to elaborate just a little bit more with the exercise. We before the COVID-19, we were doing curriculums in the schools, and one of the exercises that we put in place, part of the curriculum, was um, showing the youth, the kids, the middle school, at the ones we were at. that how exercise, even though it's something so just looked up on, like, "Oh, okay, I just exercise, no big deal." We put them in a situation in class where we would literally catalog everyone's current mood on the board, not by name, just cataloging. Hey, I feel bored. I feel anxious. I'm sleepy. And then we would do an exercise of about a minute and a half with the song, and we'd do jumping jacks or just something random that required a lot of motor skill. And we would have everyone sit down. And after that, we were able to catalog again and ask the question, how do you feel now? And then that contrast and comparison, we would teach the kids that you're in control of how you feel just by such a small exercise of a minute and 30 seconds of this motor skill. It changes your current mood. And 90% of the individuals that would respond again would say that they felt energized. The ones that were sleepy were actually awake, and they were actually surprised themselves of the change. So
Mhm.
this is something so something overlooked, that sometimes because of our adult lives are fast paced, we forget, especially now that all gyms are closed. I've learned that just keeping a small routine of cardio, even if it's just push-ups or something like that, can change and is something that sets the tone for the rest of the day. It's just something so small. So next,
Mhm.
next slide, Julie.
Yeah.
All right.
And then also we chose the increment of a minute because in a minute of sustained cardiac activity, or however you say that, um, endorphins are released. And so all you have to do is like jog in place for a minute, or do jumping jacks for a minute, or do whatever aerobic activity for a minute. Once you do that activity, more endorphins will be released into your brain, and you'll feel better. That's what the kids were reporting. So at the middle school, that's what the difference was, is no endorphins. You're just sitting down, you're just coming into this class, you do one quick minute of aerobic activity, and then you feel great. And so that's what we were trying to teach the kids with that. So in preparation for this presentation, I was just reading a lot of different things. One thing that I was reading was the connection between art, healing, and public health. So I got this quote out of there, and it's just talking about art as a coping skill. So, engagement with creative activities has the potential to contribute toward reducing stress and depression, and can serve as a vehicle for alleviating the burden of chronic disease. Through creativity and imagination, we find our identity and our reservoir of healing. The more we understand the relationship between creative expression and healing, the more we will discover the healing power of the arts. So just how you could do simple exercises like jumping jacks for 30 seconds, you can also do simple things with the arts. You can um you could just buy a sketchbook, or you could get just paper and a pencil and just start drawing, just start sketching. If you find that you or your teen or your adolescent like it, then maybe you can go down and get some watercolors and you can do that. Um, a lot of this again is just energy that's in them that has to be expressed somehow, or even energy that's in you that has to be expressed somehow. And so art is a really great coping skill, especially if you live in like a very crowded area and maybe you don't want to go out, or you don't want to leave, or you're more of an introvert. Art is a really great expression. Another coping skill is just games and hobbies. Most games and hobbies will improve your memory, and they'll actually, if you find the right one, it'll challenge your mental abilities and your problem solving skills. Most hobbies also offer mental stimulation in reference to completing a task. So, if when you complete a task, you get a sense of like, hey, I did it. I can do this. I can complete more tasks. And the more tasks that you complete throughout your day, the better you will generally feel about yourself. That's why most of the time it's important to like wake up and then make your bed and then get ready for the day. It's just so that you can add more things. It's so that you can cross off more things in your accomplished list, and you'll generally feel better about yourself. The more things that you can cross off of your to-do list, just the better you'll generally feel. So just some super quick examples of games and hobbies are word searches, crossword puzzles, brain games, Sudoku, card games, and even video games have been shown to improve memory. Games and hobbies are shown to relieve symptoms of stress and anxiety. Um, there were some people I was reading just again in preparation for this, and I was reading somewhere that that video games have sometimes been shown to have like slightly more positive benefits than maybe just reading a book, because if you're actively like playing a video game, then you have a list of things to do in your head. So you have like find a horse, cross this river, get to the princess, and then find a key and save the world or whatever. So you're juggling that to-do list in your head as you're playing it. But let's say if you're just reading along in a book, there's no actual like to-do list, you know. It's more of like it's more like food for your imagination. So it's more like, oh, I wonder what can happen here. I wonder what I can do here. And whereas the video game side is more of like food for your creativity and your problem solving. How do I do this? How do I do that? So that's why I try to list just a few different like things that you can do inside, because what if you don't like a card game or Sudoku? Well, what about a puzzle? What about a video game? It's more of like what activity releases endorphins for you? What activity releases dopamine for you? Well, then try to do more of that. Um, and that's really what I found on coping skills is just everyone is different. All things have to be tailored for all individuals, and that's just how it goes sometimes. Juan, can you click on the next slide? And I just compiled a really quick list of different after school activities. Um, some of these are more feasible when the coronavirus pandemic is over, and when all of these things have passed. They'll be more feasible, but I just wanted to include them to like keep them in mind. So just some things that you and your adolescent can do after school or out of school. So just hiking, youth soccer leagues, cooking and baking, local rec centers, the YMCA. I think there might be a small fee to do that. There's the Boys and Girls Club, which is free. There's boxing and jujitsu. Depending on what classes you go to and what age range they're serving, some of those will be free. Um, there's music classes that you can find online. There's also book clubs that you can join online. You can look up yoga routines or like join a yoga club, and a lot of yoga routines are free online. Bicycling, dance class, and drama class. Um, their after school activities, most schools will have either a dance class or a drama class. I know that one thing that I really liked to do when I was little, or what me and my cousins really liked to do when I was little, is that we would come up with like a dance routine or something, and then we would just do that. And it was a fun creative thing that like all the kids would do. um that was when I was maybe 8, so take that with a grain of salt. But it really was a quick and easy expression, and that's what I feel like a lot of adolescents are missing. um, Also, what I've noticed is that a lot of adolescents, when we would speak to them, they had a lot of other feelings that maybe weren't expressed at the right age, and now we're coming up again. So I say, like, just because for me, when I did it when I was 8, that doesn't mean that a teenager wouldn't want to do a dance class just because they're older. Um, a lot of the time, you also have to maybe let the teen or have the teen let go of their own ego, and like, hey, dancing is fun. Hey, running is fun. Hey, you're not gonna look silly doing yoga. I'm gonna do yoga with you. A lot of these things um, that are fun pastimes, that are fun activities. What holds a lot of people back from participating them in is just their own ego. So you have to find a way to like make your teen feel comfortable. You have to find a way to make your teen feel okay not not knowing how to cook or bake. Maybe they do burn the cookies every time they bake. That's fine. Just we're just going to make more cookies. um, so just keep some of those things in mind, that a lot of this is about, come, I'll do this with you, here, let's do this, come and help me with this or that. A lot of this is about making the family unit more of a unit, bringing everyone together, because when you're together you're going to talk and you're going to communicate, and that's going to build stronger relationships between you and your adolescent or teen. um so yeah, so take from that what you will.
And also don't be afraid of trying the actual event or recreation activity.
Hmm.
Sometimes just it could be a niece or nephew, and you're trying to open that relationship with them. Just right now we are kind of still in that whole COVID-19 era where there's a lot of programs that are on Zoom, and I know the YMCA and the library has programs that, for example, they'll teach you how to stretch properly over Zoom. Or I know there's some karate classes being taught live for free right now, and that can open the individual's uh, view into, hey, maybe I want to try this when everything kind of goes back to normal, in a way we're kind of less of in the social distancing type of situation. So I think in opening the report with the individual you're trying to open it with, just sometimes just trying the activity with them. A lot of us haven't gone hiking. There's so many trails in Angeles Forest in LA, and it doesn't have to be like really like backwoods type of hiking. It could just be a park. There's parks where they're not being used to their max just because either people don't know about it, or I don't know the reason. But don't be afraid of try the activity. And the kids, that's the perfect time to ask questions. Hey, what do you think about the current events? What do you think is happening? So with this, we're going to change gears a little bit, and we're going to touch a little bit on our next session, which is June 18th, and this one's on music. And many of us know what rap sounds, know what the music kind of sounds because of the beat. But what about the lyrics? Are we paying attention to what these a lot of artists are talking about? Even some of the ones that are not alive, like Little Peep, Mac Miller, that are still popular. Little Peep died how long ago, Julian? Like 3 years ago?
I think so. It was about 2 years ago, I believe.
Years ago. Mac Miller was like a year and a half ago, and both of these artists, kind of like the emo rap that the kids call it, they're still very popular in the music industry just because of their strong lyrics. They talk about their suffering, they talk about what's going on and how they cover that suffering at the same time. And some of it comes back to like self-medication. Kids hear, hey, this guy using opiate or Percocets to kind of feel better. I'm feeling the same way he is. I wonder if that works. And just sometimes opening that dialogue with the individual. Hey, what type of music do you listen to? Rap? Oh, what type of rap? What do they talk about? The rap it's very dynamic. They don't have to talk always about gangs. They'll talk about their personal experience. So it's interesting to know what the individual's into, what type of rap artist, and finding out why they like them. That might lead into a pathway of, hey, this is why I listen to this, dad, mom, uncle, whatever the relationship is with this individual. Or it could be if you're a therapist, it could be perfect way to open up the dialogue when sometimes you find yourselves in kind of brick wall situation. Music is, I think, in my opinion, the universal topic where it doesn't matter what you listen to, we could always learn from each other, especially with lyrics and how people express themselves. And so on June 18th, we're going to put together a presentation where it gives us a more contemporary form of what's going on with music, how it's evolving so quick, how these new artists are coming up, why they're coming up, their lyrics, their message, maybe their hidden messages in a way, um, from our perspective, of course, and what's trending for the most part. Anything else you want to add, Julie?
No, that sounds pretty good. Thanks, Juan.
Okay, so going into the the peer aspect of adolescence. So obviously, as kids get older, their friends become really, really important to them, and it's important. I think it can be really easy as a parent when you identify a friend who's maybe not the best influence, or who your child's getting into a lot of trouble with all the time, and you don't necessarily really want them hanging around that person. It can be really easy to tell your child, no, you can't, ground them from hanging out with that person or forbid it, or just point out all the really negative things about that person. Unfortunately, that typically, most of the time, not typically, but most of the time will cause your child to become really defensive and, want to hang out with that person more. I'm sure we've all experienced being told that we can't do something and then wanting to do it, that much more. So it's really important, instead, to open up a conversation with your child about just their friend group in general, maybe this particular person, trying to keep in mind your emotional response when you are having this discussion. Trying to stay as neutral as possible is really important, and just engaging in them and kind of seeing what it is that they like about this particular person. What sorts of things do they like to do with them? Are there particular qualities about this person that they look up to or admire or just really like, about being around them? So just really having a discussion with them about why they like this person or their friend group, and kind of maybe highlighting some of the things if they have been getting in trouble more, acknowledging that and exploring and discussing with them if that is related at all to their friend group or what their thoughts are on that. The idea is really just to encourage that discussion and get the kids to identify that, yeah, maybe this person isn't the best influence. I don't really like that they're super disrespectful to teachers or to parents, or it makes me feel uncomfortable when they want to do things that I know we're not supposed to do or against the rules. And really kind of being able to have that conversation about potential peer pressure or just situations that they might feel uncomfortable in, and alternative ways that they can respond in those situations. It's a lot more effective to have a discussion about that and kind of have them be able to identify things that maybe aren't super helpful or good about the friend groups that they're in, rather than just telling them that the friend groups are bad or that they can't hang out with them. Also having them reflect on, like, if they have friends who are really positive influences, either currently or past friends, and kind of highlighting the things that they liked about those friendships or ways that those friends make them feel, and kind of comparing that to their current friend group and what sort of feelings they get from hanging out with those people. Are they feeling supported? Do they feel comfortable? Do they feel encouraged and to do well? And
Okay, we might have lost Morgan there. Okay, we'll continue.
then they're not gonna.
All right, Morgan.
Yeah, sorry, I think my internet cut out. So I don't know where I cut out, but the underlying message is just to try to encourage that conversation about your child's friend group, or your client, if you're a therapist, their friend group, and kind of the ways that they might be influenced by them, whether positive or negative, helping them to identify what their values are and how those friendships may kind of clash with some of those values. Okay.
All right,
Anything else you want to add?
No, I think
that sounds good.
And then connecting with the parts of friends that Morgan was talking about, we're going to bring about a little bit more in depth on the negative influences, for example, on social platforms that are like Snapchat. So these are considered social platforms on a 2.0 level because there's a audience and you're able to post your information there and make video clips with it's very trendy in a way. For example, when COVID-19, well, COVID-19 is still going on, it was really in the news. Right now it's been replaced by other news, of course, we all know. But it Snapchat is able to adapt and accommodate the trends, and at the same time individuals mold that into other, for example, challenges. We heard, for example, the Tide Pod challenge a couple months ago. It was maybe back in January, if I'm not wrong. And individuals um, are easily able to publish these small clips and influence a complete broad audience, because it's so easy to access the information. If you have, for example, if you're following celebrities, the platform set up where they're able to render the information very efficiently to other users. And at the same time, you're able to respond to the current trends if you want to be part of that. So Snapchat, for the most part, is used by the youth, and with also TikTok that we're going to talk about in a couple minutes. It's a platform that's designed to socialize in a way versus the physical interaction. So it works really well, for example, in the whole social distancing right now. Like if you want to share, hey, this is what I'm eating. I'm eating a breakfast. You're able to show your audience. And of course, it comes with its negative influences, where people will show their consumption of substances. They'll show that they're drinking, or they'll show that they're smoking a bowl. And this is dangerous because it gives the notion that it's okay. And because the platform is being used for the most part, individuals that are underage is also a issue in itself. Another part which connects with TikTok is the fact that Snapchat and TikTok have been in the news because of privacy. Anyone could make an account. Your identity is not really verified. Like you don't, like a credit card, for example. When you make a credit card purchase, you have to put your license, or at least your 3-digit CCV code in the back. So there is protocols that have been designed to protect your identity and to make sure it's you. And these platforms are very open. You don't have to put your real name. You don't have to put anything, and you're part of this pool of individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
One of the other issues with Snapchat is that even though the platform itself, like their official stance is against all like illicit use of their platform, their platform is very conducive to illicit means. And what I mean by that is let's say I'm an illicit user of Snapchat, and I'm in the marketplace of buying and selling illicit substances. So all I would have to do is post that substance. All my followers would be able to sort of forward that as well. And then I can delete the original image. And now, besides that one that is now that image that is floating around now, that is going to be deleted within a few hours, there's no way to really trace it back to me as an illicit user of this platform. And the issues with that is if I'm around you, or if I'm like a local person, then it would be really easy to just contact me. Hey, I saw that you have this or that. And then that's how a lot of these younger teens are getting their hands on some of these substances, is that all they had to do was follow the right people and just wait, and then get the right image forwarded to them. And now they can have these substances in their hands within a few minutes, within maybe an hour or two of seeing this post. And it's not just Snapchat, it's also like the Facebook Marketplace, it's also OfferUp. It's a lot of these sites that carry a lot of sort of dangers in them, in that all you have to do is look. If you're not looking, you will not see. But once you open your eyes, then you will see all the things that you didn't know were there. And so with that idea, it's that like us as regular users of maybe Snapchat or Instagram or whatever, we're not actively like looking for these substances, but if we were, we would find them. And that really is the difference. It's not that Instagram or Facebook or any of these places are making anything safer or are changing anything. It's just that the individuals who aren't looking won't see. um
And
and
again, the quick
yeah.
disclaimer: we're not trying to demonize these platforms at all. We're just trying to show, both their, their counteraction to what its original intention was. The original intention for Snapchat was to be able to share, very quickly, faster than Facebook, to a vast audience, to your friends, your circle of friends, what you're doing, what you want to share, what you're maybe eating, where you're going, to show your vacation in a quick, 10-second clip. So it does have its powerful usage in a way, but also it comes with its stronger negative side. And with that, we continue a little bit with TikTok. TikTok is it's a popular, very popular platform, just like Snapchat. Um, and according to an article I was reading, it has 500 million users. So it's exploded uh, its influence on how it works, and it's different from Snapchat because their videos are usually 13 seconds or less, um, and it's a video sharing platform also. Um, and I also wanted to touch base on its negativity when it comes to privacy. One of the issues that TikTok was in the news just a couple months ago, just because they were being investigated for the company being an offshore company, were maybe harboring and harvesting the information that people would post using face recognition. So just the couple of things that are out there on TikTok and Snapchat, you're putting a lot, and I think opening the dialogue with, if you're going to talk about social platforms to your friend or to your nephew, whoever it is, I think opening the dialogue on what we post online stays online forever. It's a strong argument to definitely educate them on the etiquette of social platforms, that these platforms can be used um, if you're posting inappropriate things against you later on, and just setting those steps into properly using these platforms can make, I think, a better experience for the end user, for the individual that just started, that's 13, 14, 15 years old, and even other adults. And with that, we wanted to share just a very quick clip. It's 60 seconds, and we're going to share a bit of they talk about how TikTok is um, dangerous in some ways.
If you haven't heard of the TikTok app, your children probably have. They might even be on it, and you'd have no idea the potential danger they're in.
It's supposed to be a bit of harmless fun. So what's got parents so worried?
There's a big problem on TikTok with predatory behaviour.
Tonight, we put TikTok to the test. Our producer goes undercover, pretending to be a 13-year-old. And the alarming results will stun families.
He just said I was beautiful. He's 40 years old.
We are literally allowing strangers into our children's lives.
500 million people are said to be using TikTok around the world every month.
And so that gives a quick snapshot on how TikTok is in some ways dangerous because of the vast access to individuals that, maybe some people are just trying to make videos for fun, showing that they're having fun, or a new dance or a new challenge that's safe. Hopefully none of those other type hot challenges. And at the same time, individuals being exposed to other effects, in this case, predatory effects that they were talking about. This also connects to cyberbullying, which is a big thing now because it's not your typical bullying. How, for example, maybe some of us were experienced or saw other people being bullied in high school, middle school, and now it's a bigger platform. Individuals can use Snapchat to publicly shame individuals or TikTok. So definitely, these are some of the darker effects of these platforms and how individuals can suffer negative counteractions from.
Hmm. A lot of that also has to do with the fact that when you are online, you don't have to look at anyone in the face. You don't have to look at anyone in the eye. And so it becomes a lot easier to be cruel online because you don't have to deal with the actual ramifications of looking at someone with hurt feelings or looking at someone who is going through pain or experiencing anguish or something. Um, and so because you don't have to deal with that online, you don't have to deal with that if you're cyberbullying, it becomes a lot easier for anyone who maybe doesn't even realize that they are participating in some form of cyberbullying to actually cyberbully someone. So just the it's harder to bully someone in person than it is online, and just how communicating with like your friends and family has become a lot easier because of um, all these platforms, all these social media platforms. Um, Bullying and hurting people has become just as easy as well.
And again, it comes into just open a dialogue that, sometimes just sharing these videos, you're part of the problem and letting people know the damage and the consequences. We've seen many cases in the news where individuals, that are as young as 9, 8 year olds are trying to commit suicide and are successful in some cases, and the repercussions of these. And I think it's just opening again dialogue, that communication is important because first you're going to be able to see what the individual, the youth, your client is going through or is seeing from their point of view versus what we see in the news. So they're in more of the front line information than what the news version is going to get you. So it's interesting seeing those perspectives and seeing how they're going to develop and learning something new. Anything else, Julia?
No, I think that was good.
Okay. So we want to give a quick info here on the services that we do provide. Like I said, we have outpatient services for substance abuse, either mild 1.0 or 2.1 services. These are support groups with individuals and counselors that have been in the field for many years and also have residential experiences like us and that work in the field. So we kind of stay in touch with what's going on with substances in the street and how they're changing. For example, we're seeing a lot more fentanyl mixed with wax pens now in schools. And how do we know this? Because when we test some of these clients, they get very upset when we tell them that they've tested positive for meth and cocaine. And they're like, well, I've never tried that before, man. How's that possible? So we're seeing that, the dynamics of how drugs are changing out in the streets. We also do have mental health providers with DMH. We do have wraparound services available, and we do provide MAT services for opiate use and how these medications are able to combat the adverse effects of opiate withdrawals, which is one of the reasons why individuals that are maybe trying to quit don't, because of the adverse effects. Your body sometimes suffering from seizures to horrible pains. So there are various methods of opiate support groups and MAT services that we do provide.
Mm-hmm.
And here's our own personal contact information. If you guys need anything at any time, give us a call, send us an email. If you guys want to copy the slides or any more information about our organization, we're here to help you at any time. Thank you. And this concludes our presentation.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, everyone, have a safe weekend now. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.